Before we dive into this video, I have a question for you. Why do you think a lot of Africans are running away from Africa, the youth of Africa? Or why do you think a lot of Africans in diaspora, they don't come back home easily? Caribbeans or Black Americans, they don't come back to the motherland easily. Tell me in the comment section why or what do you think about that. Good morning, good evening, wherever you're watching from. I am the Kenyan Beast, of course. We are doing it the African way every day, every time. Now, when we talk about Africa, we talk about motherland, and our motherland needs to be taken care of. When youth grows up, or it's evident that a lot of Africans are running away from Africa. A lot of Black people, African in diaspora, they don't want to come back to the motherland simply because outside Africa is more greener than Africa. That's how they think. But there is reasons why Africans think the other way or the other side is greener, because how the media portray Africa and how the media portray Europe or these countries is very different. And it's evident that even right now, as I'm talking, out of 10 youths, 9 of them, they want to go outside Africa. I have this Pan-africanist, a young Guinea Pan-africanist talking about that. Let's listen to this video and then we react on it as we do always.
And that is the most unique thing that we have as Gambians. Like, we interact with one another, we live with one another. It doesn't matter how big the family is. We share everything, no matter how little it is. And people are content with that. That even if things are going hard, you can still observe smiling faces under each and every person that you meet along the street. So that is a plus for everybody in the Gambia. And that is why I'm a proud Gambian and a proud African. And I believe I can make it. And I'm going nowhere but in the Gambia. Nobody is going to do it for us.
That's right.
If we are all running away, when are we going to make it? We have to stay in Africa, develop in Africa, and then show to the world that Africa have a better image than the one they portray in the West. I think this is what we all need to do as Africans. And then we promote that as Pan-Africans and also as Gambians.
Excellent. I couldn't have said it better myself, actually. I propose that you come and do some shows with me. This brother's got it going on. Yeah. But seriously, I think that the misrepresentation of Africa has, I mean, it permeated my brain, and I knew because I was coming from a Pan-African background, but still, the images are forced upon us. So I think you young Gambians have a responsibility to show the other side of Gambia, the Gambia that, we diasporians and many people in the West don't see. They just don't see it.
Exactly. I think that is the work of the academics. That is the work that we need to do as young scholars. For far too long, people have been portraying Africa negatively to the outside world. And we know that that was done by individuals whose sole aim was to dominate Africa, to exploit Africa's resources, and then to continue to colonize us politically. Now, our role as academics, as young scholars, is how do we make sure that this picture is changed from the literature itself, going back to rewrite the books, to rewrite the history of Africa, and then to show to the world that we have a better image that the world is actually seeing as of today. And then you also come to realize that we need to invest in Africa, because foreign investment always leads to capital flies and etc. Because people who come in and invest, at the end they can take all the resources, and then you come to realize that it becomes another challenge for us. But when Africans invest, the money stays in Africa, which is a plus. It can enhance, it can help when it comes to employment, when it comes to, coming up with all the facilities and then enhancing the development that we own, that we all desire as Africans and etc. I think that is what we need to do as we speak, and that is what we all Africans need to be thinking into that particular line, like trying to see how we can repent that particular picture shown by the outsiders about Africa. Because in fact, let me tell you, there was this quotation that I read. It was actually done by a British parliamentarian, Lord Macaulay, in 1835. He speaks about Africa, and then he said, in order for the West to dominate Africa, they need to overthrow our very backbone, and that is our education system. When we believe that everything that is Western is correct, then they can dominate us forever.
Exactly.
And that is 1835. They've been working on those bases. So today it is high time, because we know the realities. Let us try to rewrite the history. let us try to work again and attract investment in Africa by Africans.
Welcome back again. Now, he is talking sense on this. He's saying he can't leave. Just the same as me. I can't leave Africa. I have things to do here in Africa. Maybe if I go for vacation, blah, 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 but leaving Africa and changing my identification or going for green card is a no for me. I have my own reasons, and the reasons are here with you. Like, I am a Pan-Africanist. I have to portray Africa, and I got a task to do here in Africa. Media plays a bigger role in portraying Africa. International media plays bigger role in showing the negative and positive side of Africa, but they focus in negative side. Now, we have a number of reasons why Africans leave Africa, and we term it as running away from Africa. It has a varieties and a varieties of reasons why it happens like that. One of the reasons why, because today we are looking why Africans run away from Africa, and we're gonna look what we are going to do so that we can make Africa great, so that people cannot run away from Africa. Now, we are going to start with, why do you think Africans run away from Africa? Number one is economic opportunities. There's a lot of opportunities outside Africa than in Africa, because opportunities in our home countries, for example, Kenya, are limited. You have went to school, you have completed the degree you have there, but we lack job opportunities. They tend to go to Saudi Arabia, Qatar, to these Arab countries, Lebanon, because people there, they're not working. They want to relax and employ people. Now we are getting opportunities there. That's why a lot of people are running away from Africa, because number one is poverty, and economic is poverty. Many countries in Africa, a lot of people, a lot of Africans are dwelling in poverty. And the leaders of Africa, they lack merits, or the leaders of Africa, they have not come up with any ideas, or they have not come up with strategies to make sure that poverty is eradicated in Africa. Now, instead of youth sitting down, instead of people sitting down and waiting for the government, waiting for the leader, they decide to go away or to run away from Africa so that they can change home. Poverty is number one. Another thing is unemployment. As I said earlier, high rate of unemployment in African countries leads to the youths, most of them, to run away from Africa so that they can look for greener pastures outside. Another thing that has made a lot of Africans to run away from Africa, it's political instability. We have countries in Africa that have political instability. For example, Congo, Sudan, these countries, most of them, the political instability in the countries are making youths or people to choose to be to be migrants somewhere else instead of being there. And when we say that the conflicts and war, poor governance has led to this, we are coming back to the leaders, to the presidents of these African countries. The conflicts and wars that are being caused, most of them are because of this leader has done this and has done that, or because this leader is a puppet and does not want to create a good environment for the people of his country. When we talk about conflicts too, we are talking about two political parties in a country in Africa. They are just quarreling and creating chaos and funding youths to fight against each other. Political wars or political instability can make youths or can make people to run away from Africa. Another thing is educational and professional aspiration. Many Africans leave to pursue higher education or specialized training in countries with better educational system. And that's why we are calling out the leaders of Africa to venture into education. We are calling them to have this professionalism, to install technology. We are calling them to increase the quality of education in their countries, so that this young generation or these Africans here cannot go away, cannot take the brains away. They go there, pursue of higher education, and when they graduate, they are given jobs there, they don't come back. So we don't have the brains back in the country simply because all the brains went. All the brains are in Canada. All the brains are in USA. And I will come back to the leaders too. The leader is there for 5 good years, promising better education, promising blah, blah, blah. But to study here in Kenya is very expensive. Just to get a degree or a master is very expensive. Very expensive, and yet there's no opportunities. We'll talk about that next time. But many Africans go outside to pursue a higher education, and often to go and sharpen their skills in countries that are more developed. We have another reason like that. We have reason like climate and environment factors, like climate change, drought, desertification, and national disasters. A lot of them, you name it. Climate and environmental change or factors can affect, but this cannot be the one reason, because climate change is everywhere. So we cannot focus on this too much. But again, I may say, when a country, for example, like Ghana, have allowed illegal mining, when country allowed illegal mining and they are coming here to exploit, they are cutting trees down, they are digging everywhere for the search of minerals, it can lead to climate change. It affects too. It affects too. When your country is hit by a drought, you think of going away so that you can run from these issues. We have safety and securities like human rights violation and terrorism. When you talk about human rights violation, for example, in Kenya, it's abduction left, right, and center, persecution based on ethnicity, religion, and political views. It makes someone to fear the country. For example, if you are being abducted from Kenya simply because you are not supporting William Ruto, it affects a lot. For example, if you are being threatened or persecuted because you are not a Christian or a Muslim in certain country, it affects a lot. Terrorism too is a threat from groups like Boko Haram and more. I cannot name it, you know them. It's a threat to the human race. Some people think or tend to run away from Africa so that they can run away from these problems. Lack of basic services. These are inadequate healthcare, education, infrastructure may lead to certain people or may need to run away from Africa just to go to look for better life. I hear where new mothers or new families are taking their new husband, or husband is taking his wife abroad so that a child can be born there. Now, while migration can provide opportunities, it also comes with the risk. Running away from Africa can create opportunities. I accept that. You go, you work 8 hours a day, 12 hours a day, 24 hours a day. It has its benefit. But again, it has the risk. It has the risk. And the risk is it's a fall for Africa. It's encouraging the fall for Africa. And we are not taking care of Africa. We are taking care of other lands. And again, the risk when you run away from Africa to these countries, you can face discrimination, xenophobia, exploitation by human traffickers. It's a lot. There's risk than just sitting here in your motherland and making your motherland great. We have seen that, and now we want to go to this. How can you make Africa, or how can you change how the media portray Africa? And when I come here, I want to engage with the youths. I want to talk to the youths my age. I want to talk to the people of my age, because youths are the one who are playing critical role in reshaping Africa or reshaping your country. You as a youth, you play a critical role in reshaping Kenya, in reshaping Gabon, in reshaping Guinea, in reshaping Ghana. We need you. And one of the things you can do to change how international media portray Africa is by social media platform. Sending social media platform. For example, you can create positive content about Africa. You can amplify local vocals. You can debunk stereotypes. By creating positive content is like you can use this platform like YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter and tell beautiful stories for Africa. And that's why I wanted to start a channel called Positive Africa, so that I can show you the beauty of Africa. I don't know if you will support me, but Positive Africa, just the positive and the beauty of Africa to counterattack how the media is portraying Africa negatively. And again, or you can highlight the story of ordinary Africans excelling in business, technology, arts, and education. Because from that, people from outside, African in diaspora, Black Americans, the Caribbeans, they will know that, in Africa, we have mind. We can't leave it to go like that. We need to make Africa great. We need to change how they see Africa. Another thing is by actively challenge false or negative portrays by sharing the realities of life in Africa. We can portray when they say that we are living like this, we have monkeys in the city, we go and show them the city of Africa. We don't have that monkeys. Another thing is becoming content creators. The youths, you can become content creators to change how the media, international media, negatively shows Africa. We can do documentary and filmmaking, produce film and videos that focus on African innovation, resilience, and cultural heritage. We can write blogs and articles where we write about African achievement, culture, and issues from a local perspective. We can develop apps and platforms that are talking about Africa. Becoming content creators in Africa can showcase Africa in a positive way. For example, you are watching me. When I give you positive content about Africa, you will know good about Africa. You will know that Africa is existing like this. I can tell you that what you are told by the supremacy, that's not how it is. This is how it is. The youths, I'm talking to you. You can become content creators and showcase Africa in a positive way. And that's why I'm bringing to you Positive Africa. African way. Anything to deal with Africa. We can support local media by just supporting local media so that they can showcase the best of Africa. We can engage in global conversation so that to advocate for Africa in global conferences, events, and summits. We can collaborate with Africans abroad to share a perspective on the continent. Collaborate with you who are watching this video from abroad. Another thing, we can promote by promoting the African art and culture. We are living our culture, we are living the art of Africans, and we are focusing on the Western culture so much. And that's a lot of people, when they think of coming to the motherland, they are looking for our culture. And when they see our culture is resembling the culture of where they are like, damn, let me just be here. Because they need the original culture of Africa. They need something good for Africa, the touch of motherland. We need to advocate, we need to promote African arts and culture so that we can gain that power of Africa. Another thing we can do is for highlighting success stories like businessmen coming from Africa. We can focus on tech, startups, agricultural advancement, and social entrepreneurship across Africa. We can showcase role models, share stories of Africans' achievement. We have a lot of things we can do so that we can bring Africa, or we can challenge how the media portray Africa, how the international media portray Africa negatively. And by doing this, we can get a lot of Africans coming. We can get a lot of Africans in diaspora coming back home, purchasing lands here. We can get a lot of people who are coming in Africa so that they see motherland in a different way. Because how they are seeing motherland, a lot of people have these stereotypes about motherland, or misinformation about motherland. They carry motherland in a way they have seen on the media. I'm urging the youths of Africa, don't go. You can go, but don't go for that long. Go, make it come back and make Africa great. Go, make it come back and take the seats here. Let's change Africa, become leaders of Africa. I'm urging Africans in diaspora, Caribbeans, and those Black Americans who they have the interest in Africa. Don't fear, just come back home. When you come back home, I assure you, we are doing good. I assure you, we are making progress. I assure you, you are the one to make this change. You are the one to help us. We can collaborate with you to make the change that Africa needs. With this and few remarks I have just put here, I know you have your comment to say. Why do you think Africans run away from Africa? Why do you think a lot of Africans in diaspora or Black Americans, they don't want to come back to Africa? Tell me in the comment section what do you think about this video. Of course, we are doing it the African way every day, every time. I am the Kenyan Beast. Until next episode, peace be with you.